Welcome back for another episode of the Box Jumper Podcast. I'm your host, John St. Amand. I'm a 40-something CrossFit athlete, trainer, and weightlifting coach in Bedford, Nova Scotia, Canada. This podcast is an exercise in a deeper dive into fitness, health, and nutrition, basically anything to do with active and healthy pursuits to support your everyday life. If you want to keep on top of the Box Jumper Podcast, be sure to follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter with the handle @BoxJumperOver40. And of course, if you're listening on your favorite podcasting app, please hit the subscribe button so you get the latest episode of the podcast automatically as soon as it comes out. This episode is a special one. To start with, it's my first time chatting with bona fide authors in the fitness and health space. Better yet, it's two people I know. People I've sweated and suffered alongside in many challenging workouts, hung out for a drink or two, and in Jeff's case, coached alongside for years. Jeff Simpson and Tara Clements are a power couple in every sense of the phrase. And just a few months ago, they launched a well-received health and fitness lifestyle book called Health, Mind, Soul, 8 Steps to Finding Your Inner Peace. And they've launched a fitness and nutrition coaching business as a companion piece to the book, giving them just another conduit through which to access and channel their passions for helping others achieve wellness goals. They also host weekly live workouts that are accessible and can be done without any equipment from home, especially important when many of us are home more than we'd like during the COVID-19 pandemic. I hadn't caught up with these two much since the whirlwind of activity our gym at the time went through, being closed and then open again with the uncertainty around COVID. So some of our chat is just as much of us shooting the breeze and catching up as it is an interview for the podcast, but I think it kind of works. So get ready. In 10 seconds, I'll chat with authors and healthy living gurus Jeff Simpson and Tara Clements, the power couple enriching their lives by enriching yours. Tara, Jeff, welcome to the Box Jumper Podcast.
Oh man, thanks for having us. Glad to be here.
I'm super keen to have you both as guests because, a lot's been happening. We were all members at the same affiliate, and sadly that affiliate wound up closing its doors, or not exactly closing its doors, but merging with another affiliate in the area. Not everyone was able to make the transition because, like everybody's got a geographic radius within which they decide to go work out. So, not everybody made the switch with us. And so sadly, I haven't seen you two in the gym environment that we were so accustomed to in a little while. So I was pretty keen to sit down and talk to you, especially in light of some of the really interesting stuff that's been happening with you both over the last several months. So before we dive into what that story is, first I'll just say, welcome. We've known each other for a few years now. Jeff, you joined the gym that I was at, 3.5, 4 years ago at least?
Yeah, I'd been there, almost 4.5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, the interesting thing is when you walked in, I thought you'd been CrossFitting your whole damn life because you looked like the prototypical CrossFitter with the physique that I was aiming for every time I tried to pick up a barbell.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Globo Gym look didn't necessarily transfer over to the CrossFit endurance that I needed in the beginning, but I made it through, just like everybody else.
And Tara, you wound up joining the gym a couple years later, and I've never actually asked either one of you. Did you wind up meeting before you were both members at Osprey, or did you wind up meeting at Osprey?
This is hilarious, John, because we are officially debunking the thought that we met at the gym. And if you don't know that by now, then surprise.
Well, see, I knew that there was a hint of it in the book, at least the portion of the book that I've read so far. Mm-hmm. I haven't managed to get all the way through it, but I did note that early in one of the earlier chapters, it was mentioned that you met online.
Yes. So we did not meet at the gym. So Jeff and I had been dating probably about 6 months before I decided to check it out. And I'll be honest, it was not because he went there or was a coach there. It was actually,
interesting.
Yes, it was a girlfriend of mine that was interested in getting into CrossFit and checking out a few gyms. And I was looking for a new gym at the time.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, we're going to check out this new gym. Have you heard of it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've heard of it." She goes, "Okay, so they have this intro that you can do. It's 6 classes to learn." I'm like, She goes, "You want to go?"
So hang on, you had to walk in pretending you had no idea what she was talking about.
Yeah.
I let her go. I let her just keep talking about this gym or whatever. I'm like, I know. Jeff works out there and he's a trainer there. And like, I don't know if I want to go because he's there, but I don't want to go just because he's there. Do he think
That's
I don't want
fair.
him to think I'm following him or anything to a gym?
She was.
She was the one that suggested that we go and do the pre-flight. And that was where I met you, John. I think you did our second or third class in the pre-flight. So I got to meet you right away, and you were awesome in training us.
Well, thank you.
And learning how to do everything. And then I'll be honest, I've worked out like all my life, like a lot of people have played sports, volleyball, and coached for like 11 years. But when I walked into the gym, everyone was amazing. I loved just how comforting everyone made you feel when you feel like you have no idea what you're doing because everything feels like a different move. But I was able to catch on. And just, I loved my experience there.
Yeah, you fit in right away. I can't say that there was anybody that ever walked in that didn't wind up feeling pretty comfortable right away. I think we had a pretty good thing going there. I think the culture with the members was pretty close knit. I mean, every gym kind of talks about that same premise. But when you're in that environment, you do feel the uniqueness of where you are and the people that you're with. And so that was certainly something that was really kind of special about the way that Osprey was run. Rob and Tisha and the coaches that they recruited to run the classes really did a great job of making sure that everybody felt welcome, no matter what their fitness level was walking in. And, everybody made progress at different rates, and everybody was high-fiving back when we were allowed to touch one another. And
that's right.
It was awesome.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a true, I like to say, like a athletic family. Like there was a lot of support. It wasn't just about going in trying to get PRs, but there was a lot of great coaches, a lot of great people, and everyone supported one another, and that's what made it so fun, right? Like it wasn't so serious. It was just about getting that fitness. Coming in and just enjoying the social aspect as well.
It was nice that nobody took it particularly seriously. I mean, we all have our moments where we're like, damn it, I wish I had gotten that lift, or, I didn't make the cutoff time, or whatever it is. But I mean, we're not too hard on ourselves about it either. So, it's great. Everybody's, really welcoming and encouraging to one another. That's something that I really appreciate about the CrossFit environment, and that's what I'm attracted to in the environments that I'm a part of. So whether that's Osprey and now where I'm coaching at Onside, it has very much that same kind of feel. It doesn't hurt that Rob and Tisha and a bunch of other members from Osprey made the transition. So I didn't feel like a fish out of water when I went, because there were so many of us that made the trip together. So it was kind of nice. Now, you came from a Globo gym environment. What made you chase CrossFit? What brought you into CrossFit in the first place, Jeff?
Yeah, I think it's that here I was turning 40, feeling like I needed to make a change in my fitness. Yeah,
Jesus, you did it for the same reason I did.
Yeah, right.
I just got there a year earlier.
Right. Yeah. There's everybody, at that stage thinking, okay, what do I want to do in my life? We kind of all had maybe some kind of fitness background of some sort, right? Played sports my whole life. I was in the military, so I was always around some kind of physical activity. And just at that point, it was at the gym. I would go by myself, put in my earphones, work out, and leave. And again, CrossFit, if we look back 5 or 6 years ago, it was still, up and coming. And
Yeah.
people were kind of mystified as to what is this all about. I've only seen what I've seen on TV, and it looks extremely crazy. Can I do it? I was the same way, and like majority of other CrossFitters, you hear it from someone else, and they tell you, and they tell you, and they tell you, and it's just like, hey, come into the gym, give it a try. You already work out, you're going to do great. And I still had my, negativity and like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. These guys are doing handstands and these other things like this. I'm used to curling dumbbells and benching, and they're like, no, you'll be fine. And once I got in there, I think most people realize it's like, again, it's a huge social aspect. It's fun.
Yeah.
There's all these different levels to how we can go about it. So it's not just about going in there and hitting these big weights and doing these crazy exercises. It's just about getting fit and getting to know people and really learn about yourself. So I really enjoyed that. And, it's definitely um, something that'll be a part of my life going forward. I love that whole aspect of it. I'm not currently at the CrossFit gym, but I am with people doing CrossFit stuff, and
Right.
just that environment is something different. And I wouldn't want to go back to what I was doing before. It's just not the
No.
same.
Yeah. Once you have that sensibility ingrained in you, and it becomes part of how you see fitness fitting into your life, it's very difficult to make a transition back to what you had before, especially when you see the benefits of what you're doing now by comparison. I mean, when I did the Globo Gym thing, the I think the thing that I found most frustrating is I felt like I was getting stronger, but I didn't feel like it had a relationship to how I lived. It's hard to explain, but like doing functional movements, as difficult as it is when you're doing a handstand or a deadlift to make the direct comparison to what you do in your everyday life. Once you do find that connection and you realize what its purpose is and how it relates to how you move in everyday space
Mhm.
when you're walking around the house, as opposed to machine-based movements that don't really mirror anything that you do in real life, you just feel better doing these types of things. I certainly couldn't go back.
Yeah, no, the gym was about, how big can I get my legs? How big can I get my arms? How big can I get my chest? But
Mm,
you're right. It wasn't necessarily about functionality. And if anything, I would be the poster child of that, where I have, zero flexibility. I was, it was
right.
just, let's just build all this muscle, but I just didn't have this other functionality to it. Going to, into CrossFit, it kind of made me realize, oh, okay, I can be strong, but I can have that functionality as well. And
Yeah.
that's what made the two things sort of mesh and, really get me excited about, okay, there's more to it than just what I'm seeing. And like I said, hitting these big weights or doing that, there's a whole nother component to it that,
Yeah.
you know, I think people, if they haven't been into a CrossFit gym or they've just heard about it, it's kind of hard to explain until you actually get in and do it.
Yeah. What was your background in sport like, Tara? Were you involved in various different sports growing up?
Yeah, I played volleyball and did provincially, but then also went and I was a coach for 11 years with volleyball. Not with volleyball as a coach, but within our club group here. And so it was every age from U14 all the way up to U18,
Hmm.
competing in provincials and nationals. So sport has always been a part of my life too. And I stopped coaching. And when you kind of stop doing that, you miss that sport piece in your life as well. And
Hmm.
I found that transitioning to the CrossFit gym made me feel like I could be an athlete again, where
Yeah.
we had the open, which scared the crap out of me, to be honest. But I did it. I did it anyways. And John, you were one of my first judges, and thank gosh you were there because I did not want to finish it. But it makes you have this ability to compete again, and I really missed that. So
Yeah, it's something that in our adult lives we don't have quite as readily anyway. I mean, there's the odd person that might have a hockey pickup league that they play once or twice a week or something like that. But the competitive fire, the part of your everyday routine that winds up playing as a kid, it's hard to find that as an adult.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's nice to have it reintroduced.
It
It
is.
is.
Yeah, go ahead.
I should say, it makes you feel young again, because sport makes me feel younger. It brings you back to your kind of like your childhood days, your competitiveness when you were playing sports.
That's for sure.
It makes you still feel like you've got it.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I don't think I really realized how much I missed it until I had it again. I mean, I had done some other sports through my like late 20s into my mid to late 30s. I did running. I can't say that I was competitive in any way. I did half marathons, and I was just a pretty average middle of the pack runner. So I was competing against myself, never really against anyone else, which is kind of analogous to CrossFit, but at the same time, I didn't feel the pressure to keep up with anyone when I was doing that either. And for some reason, I do in CrossFit. I guess it's the level playing field where we're all doing different movements and we have different strengths and weaknesses. It's functional movement. It's it's something that allows you to kind of find your groove. And it's hard not to get energized by the fact that you're doing this in a group of people and everybody's doing the same thing, which I guess you could. I guess I found a little bit of a competitive stretch when I was doing running, when I would go out for a training run. But when I was actually on the course, I was just worried about getting to the end. And so it didn't feel the same way. The thing that I found once I got into CrossFit was that it made me feel like I did when I was in my early 20s doing martial arts, where it was an individual based thing, but you were in a group environment. Everyone was learning the same stuff at the same time. And there was a combination of strength and skill and stamina. It was just a more balanced pursuit, I found.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is, and I did the same thing. I ran, or if I played softball, baseball, soccer, there's only, and, they're all difficult in their own ways, but, with soccer, there's, how do I get that footwork? Or baseball, how do I get the arm a little bit better? There's two or three elements to everything, the batting, the catching. But with this, it just seemed like there was this huge umbrella of things that I needed to learn.
Yeah.
And that alone was like, wow. I said, from the first week I was there, I thought, wow, I have a lot to learn. This is going to be a while.
Yeah.
I'm still learning.
And it never ends.
That's the thing that's really fun about it, is that you never feel like you don't feel even close to done your learning, and there's always progress to be made. And I mean, all three of us are still young enough that we're still making progress. The law of diminishing returns hasn't quite rounded the corner on us yet. Let's hope.
That's right.
So we're going to continue to make progress, continue to learn new skills, continue to build strength and speed and stamina, and all of that winds up translating into a better lifestyle down the line anyway, which is ultimately what we're after. Even though in the immediate term, we're just worried about finishing the workout and getting a respectable score and, trying to progress our fitness. Ultimately, we're really just, building up strength and stamina for the future as well. I certainly know my share of older people that have a harder time getting around, and I don't ever want to feel like that will be me. And so, I'm figuring the more capable I am now, once my strength and speed and stamina start to decline, I'll still have a long, slow decline rather than a rapid one, or at least that's what I'm thinking I'm building myself up for. We'll see whether it actually winds up being the case.
You're on the right road, John.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, the same way as if you want to save for retirement, you put away as much money as you can so that money lasts a long time. Fitness is that same sort of thing. It is a savings bank. And so you really have to put in the effort now if you want that to pay off in the longer term. We're playing a much longer game, even if day to day it feels like we're playing in the here and now.
That's so true. I think more people just need to know that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. I mean, I think, I try to reinforce that with all of the new athletes that I wind up talking to. And, one of the challenges for me is that as time goes on, the new athletes coming in seem younger and younger relative to my age now. So they're not always in their 30s and 40s now, and they feel like they're so much further away from where I am. But they're setting foot in the gym. They're taking those first steps. I wish I had found it as young as some of the people that are coming through the doors now. I think there's a greater awareness of what fitness can mean. And hopefully, the pandemic being what it is will wind up allowing people to take health and fitness a little bit more seriously than perhaps we have in the past.
No, that's absolutely true. And I mean, I agree. I wish I would have found it sooner and had that opportunity to at least start this chapter, in CrossFit and the health and functionality. But this is one of the reasons that Tara and I decided we wanted to dive into this realm because we know the importance of it. With the fitness and the nutrition, and this CrossFit was just a good stepping stone to really give us that, or at least myself, that foundation as an athlete and a coach to want to progress and help others.
Right. So now the catalyst for you to start helping others with fitness. I mean, you were already doing that as a coach at Osprey anyway. Mm-hmm. But with Osprey merging with Onside, and you're now off on your own. Was that the moment in time that you decided you were going to start doing that, or did you wind up, starting to think about how you would take your fitness lifestyle and help others with it even earlier than that? I mean, you mentioned to me that your injury was something of a catalyst, but you'd been thinking about it for a while. So when did you decide to write a book and start helping others by sharing your experiences?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. The injury, like I had, unfortunately at the end of the open, at the very last exercise, yes,
Yep.
tearing my tricep, that was quite the experience, and having to recover from that, I think I gained some other perspective, and whether that had been the catalyst to kind of drive everything,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was. It definitely started the process of writing the book. I wasn't a writer. I wasn't someone who thought about writing, but waking up one day and saying I want to write a book, experiences of my life, things that evolved around wellness and health and nutrition, and how could I help other people? It certainly it sent it on in that direction. So the book was probably the catalyst that started it all, and then it was just this avalanche that started to just go down and pick up steam. And with COVID and other things, it was like the momentum was there to just. Well, I had time too. I was at home, and I think
Right.
with a lot of people, right? They were
Yep.
either just working from home, and luckily through my work, I was able to work a week on, week off. But the book was definitely the driving factor, and
Well, I can see how it would lay the foundation for what you want to do next, because you took a very, the book is called Health, Mind, Soul: 8 Steps to Finding Your Inner Peace.
Mhm.
You take a very instructional approach just in the writing of the book. You're really laying it out. You're using your experiences to lay out what these steps are. And so I can easily see where you would look at that and find a way to layer on, okay, well, how do I expand on this? How do I reach people and take these lessons a step further by actually interacting with an audience directly? So when did you start expanding beyond the messaging that you had written in the book?
Yeah, once we had the book written and we started coming up with ideas as to, well, how can we make this a bigger we started to, I guess, sort of form a company. We were building things around that. COVID hit. Everyone was working out at home. All the gyms were closed. We were doing our fitness together. And that's one of the things that was so great about it is, Tara and I are on the same page when it comes to fitness and nutrition and just overall wellness. So that made it really easy. And it was like we knew that the book was going to reach, X amount of people, but, in a different setting. Like I wanted to help people in a lot of different areas, but, also wanted to say, how could we help people in that, in the fitness and the nutrition area? And I think from there, it was just kind of like, well, we have the experience, we have a foundation. I'd been doing this for 25 years, working out. CrossFit helped me get to a certain level. Coaching in CrossFit helped me get to a certain level. Weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting. I felt really comfortable, programming. I mean, as you could attest, I mean, you once you get in that mindset of wanting to program, then I just really wanted to help other people. So I thought the two would mesh really well. And along with that, then Tara started saying, hey, like maybe we should get our nutrition to go along with it. And we went all in, right? So it was a deep dive into fitness and nutrition, and then trying to come up with a game plan as how are we going to implement this and put it out there to the world,
So the precision nutrition side of things, Tara, that was your idea?
That was my idea. So it's funny when you say that, we were both on the nutrition. Jeff got me into the working out, but I got him on the nutrition because we'll spread over my philosophies of like some eating. And, when I first met him, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you need some help.
Nachos and beer fueling the workouts.
He was pretty good, but I dialed him in a little bit with his clean eating. So I've been wanting to do it for a really long time. I've been helping people in health for over 10 years. And I've always wanted to have, that cert behind it and just learn more myself, because I'm always following like, oh, what's new, or what's that new recipe, or, oh, this person's doing that. And it's just super intriguing to me, and fueling our bodies with health is what we need to do, John. Just like you said, doing the workouts is our retirement plan for wanting to be around for so much longer. And what we eat goes so much in hand with that to fuel our bodies on the inside, as opposed to just like working out on the outside. So I've been saying, like, I want to do this, I want to do this. And I was tired of saying I want to do this. So I just did it. And I told him, he's like, well, I want to do that too. So then we both did it together and did the whole thing together. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Unless you clean up your diet at the same time, you're almost taxing that bank account, because you can't really, I mean, as much as you might like to think that you could, it's not purely about calories in, calories out. On paper, that seems like a great idea, but the reality is there's quality calories and terrible calories. And so you really have to make appropriate decisions. It's not like you have to live like a monk or anything. You just have to make the right decisions that fuel your workouts so that your workouts are more productive, and then it winds up becoming this cycle that gives you better and better results if you're fueling correctly and working out and getting sleep. I mean, there's a lot of different elements of health that all have to balance out relative to one another in order for you to continue to make progress and to continue to fill that bank account for your retirement. Because otherwise you're just taking away from all of that extra work that you've already put in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
no, that's true.
I found too that, people just need help. So many people, they either just, they don't know how to fuel their body properly for their goal, or they just need help. And I've noticed that a lot over the years, just helping people with their nutrition, that they just need suggestions and help and ideas and a little bit of hand holding, and then you get them to a point where they're good.
Anecdotally, anyway, based on my experience with my wife and her friends, women are way better at that than guys are. like the idea of like, I have never once in my 45 years shared a recipe with my buddies.
Oh, come
Just
on.
hasn't happened. I mean, it may be sharing an idea of, hey, have you tried this hot sauce? That's about as close as we've come, or regaling one another about this great beer we tried. But sharing recipes, no, sadly, it has not come up. But my wife, on the other hand, does a really good job of cataloging good ideas from friends that have shared recipes. And, sometimes it's people she knows, sometimes it's people she doesn't. Sometimes it's just looking through Pinterest or Instagram, looking for ideas. And that winds up giving her not only just like a source of joy in being able to find these things, but it also winds up sparking some creativity too, to see what some other people are doing with their nutrition. What's the biggest thing that your experience as a nutritionist has taught you about what people are doing wrong with respect to nutrition?
Oh, where do we start?
I know it's a loaded question.
It is. Jeff, what are you thinking?
I think and then, we try to do our best. We learn as much as we can. We try to implement it on ourselves, so that we can get that best experience that we can, then give to clients and others. But
Yep.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is there's just so much out there. The internet is cluttered with so much information, and there is amazing information, but there's also, on the flip side, there's just a lot of garbage. And I think people are just confused.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't know where to go. And that's, like Tara was saying, like, they just need, guidance. They just need somebody to say, hey, like, just go in this direction. It's going to work. I know everybody wants these quick fixes, and, how could I do this, this weekend? How do I lose this weight like this? And believe me, I would love to tell them, oh, you could do it, but it's just not sustainable. And when we talk about that bank and setting up for life, and I mean, you have to do it right, and you have to do it for the long term, or I mean, that's where I see people are going wrong. People want that quick fix now, and we have to kind of like back it off and say, just hold on. Let's try this. It may take a little bit longer, but I promise you're going to go in the right direction, and you're going to make, substantial progress that's going to last, for many years.
And I work with a lot of ladies, and I find a lot of ladies, and it can be whatever their goal is. I was working with a client yesterday. She does want to lose about 30-ish pounds. And I said, just tell me what you're eating. Like, no judgment. And we checked it out, and she wasn't eating enough, because people are so confused that they think if they eat less, they're going to lose weight.
I think that's probably the biggest problem I have, is not eating enough.
Yeah.
I've gotten that feedback multiple times from multiple sources. And to be honest, I'm having a hard time doing very much about it, because I'm not a person that has a terribly substantial appetite to begin with. And strangely, I find the more I work out, the harder I find my appetite is to kind of return. It's not that it goes away exactly. I don't find myself having cravings. I don't have a particular schedule that I find is predictable for when to fuel. So I wind up having to make a very conscious effort to eat at certain times a day and to make sure I take in the right kinds of foods at the right time in order to fuel my workouts, because, otherwise I'll get halfway through a workout and just have no energy to finish. But I haven't really found that good balance yet. To be able to fuel my workouts, but also, allow me to, in my case, I'm trying to put on a little bit of muscle. But it's tough because I don't eat enough to do that.
Well, John, we can help you.
Excellent.
No, I mean, Tara did make a good point. You guys are saying, we do find a lot of people that are under eating. And it's amazing. And, everybody thinks you want to lose the weight, that, you have to cut those calories, but that's not necessarily the case. And as you had alluded to before, that the whole, if it fits your macros, sure, the calories in, calories out. But I mean, the quality of macros and the ratio of them, I mean, just manipulating those few things could make the world of a
Huge.
difference.
Well, yeah, I mean, you take an extreme example, just pick one particular type of food and try to get all your calories in that one type of food. I mean, you'll be miserable as hell. That alone tells you that it's not purely a matter of calories in, calories out. It's
Mm-mm.
an appropriate balance of getting those calories across a variety of different sources,
Hmm.
and having a balance of the proper macros. And that's something that I've not been as diligent about really taking a good measure for how I'm doing on that front. I know intuitively I eat quite healthy. There's the odd thing that I'll eat that I should probably avoid, but screw it, I'm alive.
That's right.
There's some things that you just decide to have because they're tasty, but I make sure that I do it in a balanced way. The one thing I've been careful of is not to get distracted by the shiny new whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that I think is one of the other dangers when people are really examining their diet, is to be distracted by what's new as opposed to tried and true proper techniques for improving their diet. Is that something that you're also seeing from people, that they get caught up in fads?
Sometimes they do, and it's almost like we rescue them from that. And people sometimes will do their own thing, and then when they realize that their
Mm,
own thing isn't getting them where they want to go, because asking for help for weight, even if it's just weight loss, it's a vulnerable thing to do. And a lot
mm,
of people have a hard time like coming forward and admitting that they kind of need help with that. And there's no shame in that. Like whatever you want to do, we have zero judgment. We help anyone and everyone that wants it.
yeah.
But just kind of letting them know another way that they can get to their goal, and just bringing them back to good healthy foods too.
Yeah, it's just about informing them. We understand, people are going to come in and it's like, oh, I want to do keto, I want to do carnivore, I want to be vegan. Like they want to pick a side, and
Mm,
that's okay if that's what you really want to do. But if you're just doing it because it's a fad, then we want to give you those options or that information to say, hey, listen, if you're just doing it because you think it's a quick fix, well, we can give you some other options. If you have
right.
other reasons um, that you want to, well, other things that might be beneficial for, maybe some underlying issues that you have, we
Hmm.
understand and we'll work with you on that. But, we're there to give options. We're not there to judge and say, hey, what you're doing is wrong. It's just like making sure that they stay on a correct path. And mostly, again, it all comes back to sustainability. If you
Yeah.
go too far to the right, too far to the left, it's really, really hard to sustain over a long period of time. But if you can find that balance of having a little bit of both, then that's okay. And then beyond that, having another balance, like you mentioned, like we don't go 100% all the time. It's not sustainable. We would crack. It's hard. I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I need an 80-20 split where I have some, things that probably aren't the best for me, but they keep me sane and you
Yeah.
know,
And they taste real good.
and they taste
Oh yeah.
real good.
Yeah. My once a year donair is definitely not helping my workout the next day, but my mind is better for it on balance for the next 11 months.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, some of those types of I won't call them outright fad nutrition programs, but these particular concentrations of a style of eating, many of those wind up having to be customized to what that person's activity level is too. And I don't think a lot of people really completely understand that. They just think that I think what they're looking for ultimately is for something to be prescriptive, and that it doesn't always work that way. Not without some outside help to be able to say, all right, well, here's kind of the basic parameters of what the carnivore diet looks like, or here's what keto looks like, but
Right.
here's what it needs to look like for you
Yeah.
because XYZ. Because there are variables in that person that have been completely ignored by the structure of that particular nutrition program that wind up having to be considered and balanced before that can work. I mean, that the same reason that our friend Gareth at the gym wound up doing the ideal protein diet, and the ideal protein diet as written did not work for CrossFit.
No.
The level of activity was too high, too sustained, too intense for the original prescription for that particular nutrition program to work. And so he worked with his nutrition advisor to change the structure of that program so that he could adhere to the spirit of it, but have it be changed in a way that reflected his activity level. So how much customization, like how personal do you wind up having to get with people's nutrition programs? I have to imagine it's fairly personalized.
Yeah, no, those are great questions, and it's definitely something that we, ask our clients as to, what are they doing? Because yes, you can just prescribe, like you said, a nutrition regimen, but if I don't get that other information as like, what else are you doing? Do you do some kind of fitness? Do you,
Yep.
Is your job require, a lot of intensity at those things? Because like you said, if you're doing some kind of heavy protein or like a keto diet, well, yeah, if you're going to be doing short interval workouts, something like CrossFit, HIIT, if you're boxing, something like that, where I need this intense fuel, I mean, you need glucose.
Yeah, different energy systems require different fuel.
That's right. And I tried it because I wanted to see how it worked on my body and how I would react. And I was the same way. Like if I was just going to the gym, lifting some weights, I'd probably tell people, hey, if you can get through the workouts and you're fine and you feel good, you're not getting faint or whatever it is, let's stick with it. Maybe we'll add a little bit more carbs if that's the case. But if they certainly said, hey, I'm doing CrossFit, I'm doing these high intensity things, I'd be like, okay, let's see where you're at. Let's see where you go from there. But we may need to introduce this because I've done it. And I mean, oh yeah, I bonked after about 2 months.
Yeah.
Like I was like, wow, I have to introduce carbs back in here just because, I couldn't get through the workouts. But you could certainly adhere to the structure of it, as you said. I mean, you can say, hey, maybe you're working out 3 times a week. Well, those 3 days, well, let's add some carbs. Let's really, beef it up that day, hit the carbs. And then on the other days, don't worry about it. Go back to doing, the diet as prescribed. And I think you'll be okay. So there is a lot of individual learning with each person. And that's why I enjoy it a lot, just because it's not just like throw the one thing out there and say, okay, you got to stick to this and it has to be exactly like this. And if you go off, it's not going to work, because that's just not true. Everybody's so individual. You have to balance it as to how it works with each person.
Right. So, you're doing more than just nutrition counseling, clearly. I mean, you've got a private Facebook group. And so in the private Facebook group, you're providing, a support network where not only are you interacting with the people that are part of the group, but they're interacting with one another. How did that idea come about, and where do you see that going?
Well, that was me.
It was totally yes. With that.
You gotta have a group. So we created that group a few months ago. I don't even know how long ago now, because having a group, you can give so much value in that. I always say value added, no matter what you do. And it's so beneficial for people to get so much value. And in there, we do a workout once a week. We'll have a weekly chat where we go live. It's not perfect. We'll do it in front of the fireplace, and people just want to see real. And we'll talk about something, a topic once a week. It could be off the fly that we said, you know what, we're going to talk about this week. Or maybe it's suggestions that people are asking us often. So we have people asking this certain thing often, like, you know what, instead of just like making it one, let's just have this one chat where a lot of people can learn about this, because usually if it's one person, a lot of other people have it on their mind too. And
yeah, for sure. Right? I mean, sometimes it just takes one person to ask the question, but not everybody's comfortable asking the question.
Yeah. And we have recipes on there, and we're going to incorporate some guest people to come on and maybe do some Pilates or yoga for our group, and just really
Mhm.
make it a special community where people can just go to learn, to work out a little bit, be supported, have some questions answered, and just keep growing it.
That's one of the more interesting uses of the social media platforms. I mean, it really harkens back to the good old days when we didn't have social media, and that kind of level of interaction between people were in, you know, forums and that sort of thing, which had its own mix of pros and cons. But it takes leadership of a group like that to set the tone for what the tenor of the discussion will be among its members. So, how have you found your community um, behaving? How what's their overall tone? Are they really supportive of one another and maintaining a really positive tone as they interact with one another?
Yeah, absolutely. No one is, like leaving bad comments about what somebody else said or anything like that. Well, and two, we would just not tolerate that.
No.
We
Well,
would,
that's yeah,
if anyone was doing anything like that, we would just remove them from the group, which we have access to do that. And
right,
I think they know that we're there to just give guidance and support and give health tips. It's never a combative question that anyone puts out.
right.
So it doesn't really have that vibe really at all. It's just a great informative community.
Yeah, I think, people are coming to the group because, they just want to know more. They want to know more. They want to be engaged. They want to see what's going on. How could they, take what, you know, we're providing, what other people are mentioning, and maybe incorporate that into their nutrition or their fitness. I mean, that's it. I mean, we just want to inform. We want our, everybody that's in the group to, throw out as much information as they have as well. I mean, it's just a great learning environment for everybody. I mean,
Right.
that this is all we want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a part of a few different groups on Facebook over the years, and there's one or two of them immediately come to mind that just devolved into shouting matches between different members, and usually it has a reflection of the leadership of that group not quashing that kind of tone very early on. But it's also a little bit reflective of the nature of the people that are there, why the reason that they're there in the first place. And I think so when you find a community that's really positive, it tends to reward itself in the fact that the people that are in there are looking to help themselves, help other people, share experiences, and so that winds up resulting in that community staying more positive overall. And I think the fact that the tone coming from the two of you, like anytime I've watched your weekly workouts on Instagram, you're super welcoming and cheerful, and you're clearly having fun while you're doing it. And I think that's the reason that you're going to attract a certain audience, because that is the tone going in, and so people are more likely to share that same kind of sentiment when it comes to their affecting their lifestyle with working out, nutrition, work-life balance, all of those things that you're advocating in your group and in your book and your online community.
Yeah, and I think it comes back to, you know, we're not there to judge. We're not there to say what you're doing is wrong or right. We're just there to inform and help. It was the same way with the book. I don't have all the answers. I don't know everything, but what I do know, these are the things that we want to give to people.
Mm-hmm.
We've tried to educate ourselves. We've tried to learn as much as we could, and these are the things we want to pass on. So I think people, like you were saying, they just take that in a different context. We wouldn't be 100% and say, oh no, this is the right way. This is this. I mean, there's many different ways to go about something, whether it's fitness or nutrition. So if you have that sort of openness and that approach, I think people, you won't get those kind of people saying, well, this is this and this is that, because we're not advocating one thing or another anyways. We're just giving you the best things that we know, that we've seen that worked and can be sustainable. But we, never would we say, hey, this is the way and it has to be that way. So
Right.
And we just want to keep it fun and light. People have other serious things going on in their life. So the time that they spend with us, we just want it to be fun.
yeah,
That makes sense.
Mhm.
it's too easy to get caught up in, wanting that to be your life, and wanting it to be, this and that. But, like, let's have fun with it. Let's enjoy the process as we go through, and it makes it that much more rewarding.
Right. So in establishing Health Mind Soul, not just as the book and the online community, but as a business, where do you envision taking the business from here? I mean, you're in the very early stages
Mhm.
of developing this young business. Where do you see it going?
Wow. Yeah. That's, we,
We can't tell you
the,
all of our secrets, John.
the existential question in the
oh
room.
my gosh, we have so much in the works,
So
but yeah,
much.
no, it's definitely in the beginning. We're working, one-on-one with clients now. So that's
Mhm.
that's our passion at the moment. We're helping people, with their fitness regime, several packages you can do for that. We'll help you with nutrition.
Mm.
Um, Again, it's one-on-one. We do, a deep dive into what it is that you want to do. Do you want to build muscle? Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to body recomp? Do you want to just have a,
Healthy lifestyle.
healthy lifestyle? I mean, we're taking it from all aspects, and then, now we've, started incorporating the whole wellness, part into that, as we're finishing up our credentials on the wellness coaching. So that's going to be
Mhm.
a huge component, moving forward. So I guess if you're asking in that direction, yes, we're really working on a big, wellness component, because that's something we really believe in, and, we know this is where that next stage is. If you really want to make these changes, is just in this wellness side and this, mental component, having that mental well-being, and especially
Right.
with everything that's going on in the world today. I mean, it's,
Everyone could use more positive in their life.
oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, you talked in the book about having converted your thinking on meditation. That it was something that you didn't do in your younger years, but you're a strong advocate now. How did that come about?
Yeah, well, and that came about from another chapter where I talked about, uh, not reading for many, many years of my life, and, all of a sudden becoming a huge advocate of reading. You know, I
He
got
was
stuck in
he was
in,
not
in
a
a rut.
reader when I met him, John.
No,
I'll tell you
no,
that.
not one bit. And, through reading, you start learning a lot more about yourself. And one of the things I started reading was, about meditation. And, I've learned to be a lot more open, to different things. And, meditation became one of them. And once I started, the mental aspect of it just became huge. Like, I think when you do fitness, you start to become in tune with your body, in a physical realm. And when you're doing nutrition, you have this inner awareness too, because now you're working on a different aspect of it. So the mental component, I believe, is just as big, and, meditation was just a big part of that. So, that was one of the reasons I wanted to incorporate it. I mean, the amount of feedback I've got on that alone, just people like, oh, I really can do that. It doesn't take that much time. Like, my mom, who's 70 years old, is now going to be starting to meditate. Like,
Oh
it's,
wow!
yeah. So, it's never too late. And, yeah, so the wellness aspect of it is going to be, a bigger component, moving forward. We really want to be able to incorporate the book and the journal and some of these other things, such as, meditation and
And corporate wellness as well. It's such a
Yeah.
gap in a lot of companies that piece just it's not there. So if we can lend a helping hand for a period of time or be that go-to person for companies that may not want to hire a full-time wellness person on staff, especially small businesses,
Right.
who can they go to? What company can they call upon? Who can they come in to be their mentor along the wellness side as well, either for a longer period of time or a short period of time, whatever works best for them. So there's lots of people that we can help.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And more, but we can't tell you all yet.
It keeps getting deeper and deeper every time we talk about it. So yeah, we have a long list of things that we want to do.
Well, it sounds pretty exciting. I mean, to kick things off the way that you did and gradually layer on all these other areas that you think, first of all, really keenly interest you, but dovetails so well with what you're already doing. I think that makes it a little bit more of an attractive option, because I think, when people come to you, they'll be able to see a much more well-rounded, more complete package to be able to get help in a variety of different areas that complement one another and ultimately move them towards their goal in a more complete way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's hitting it right on the head. We enjoy the fitness and the nutrition and the wellness, and yeah, I mean, we know how much it's meant to us. We know how much it's changed our lives. So, when you see it firsthand and you've seen other people get those rewards as well, then you know that you're on the right track. And I think once you start to see that, it easily becomes a passion that you just don't want to stop.
And it doesn't
Right.
feel like work to us. It just feels like
No.
we're having conversations back and forth with our clients, but also I can ask Jeff, like, oh my gosh, like this person's maybe struggling with this area. What can you suggest? So we have each other to go back and forth on for different, client situations. And it's fun. Like we totally geek out on this stuff, and it doesn't feel like work to me.
No, and they get used. Anybody that works with us gets to pick my brain. They get to pick Tara's brain. So I mean, they're getting a 2-for-1, and
Right.
maybe they don't know it, but they are. So we're always, like she said, asking each other questions. How does that help? How does this help? She might say, hey, you know what? I'll ask Jeff. Maybe he has something else. So, and I can ask Tara. She has some great suggestions. So, I mean, the client is definitely going to get their money's worth. I believe that.
Right. That's awesome. So what are the ways that you want people to reach out to you? I mean, I know you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you've got a mailing list on your website. Obviously, you've got a website with a blog and a variety of different articles on all of these topics. So it's healthmindsoul.com is the website. The Instagram and Facebook handle, Health Mind Soul Life, is the handle for both of those. And so, and the website gives them the opportunity to sign up for the programs that you offer, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, everything is on there. They can sign up for the fitness. They can sign up for the nutrition, and our wellness program is now live on there as well. So we're going to
nice.
Yep, this is all new, and
Yep.
so yeah, introducing it on the Box Jumper podcast.
Awesome, world first, right here.
That's right.
That's right. Yep. So we're going live with the wellness aspect of that. So we're really looking forward to helping people in that genre. So it's going to be fun, and it's just going to be ever evolving, because I mean things change all the time, even in the fitness and nutrition. So I mean that's what makes it so fun.
That's awesome. I like the checklists that you have on your site as well for the various different categories, whether it's career or healthy living, forgiveness. You've got some great tips in here for people to follow.
Yeah, that was a big part of the book. I just wanted it to be fun and interactive. I mean, it's a super easy read. People who aren't avid readers who have read the book have said, oh yeah, like I really enjoyed it. It's
Mm-hmm.
I think it has something for everyone. And, I don't believe that everyone is going to take all 8 things and say, hey, I'm going to run with that. And that's totally okay. I just, my thought was, hey, maybe you take 1, maybe you take 2.
Yeah, find
And
that kernel.
yeah, like what is it
Yeah.
that really is driving me at this moment that I would like to dive into and really spread my wings on, and then just give a little checklist, because, we tend to read things and then forget about them. But if you have a little checklist and say, maybe I'll incorporate it into my life, if I say, hey, try this for a week or give it a month. And, once you've
Right.
started to adapt that into your daily routine, it's like it gives you an opportunity to say, okay, maybe I like it, maybe I don't, or maybe I'll stick with it or learn some more. But that was the whole premise behind those. I know I had similar things in other books that I really enjoyed, and
Mm-hmm.
I wanted that to be a part of it as well.
Does that mean you're working on a follow-up?
Ooh.
Ooh. Tara says I should have a follow up. I just have to figure out what that follow up is going to be.
Just
I
add
think there
add the
will be,
9th tip.
yeah,
Right,
there
right.
will be a follow up. We just don't know what that is yet.
There will be. I think the passion I found writing was something I didn't know I had, and once I did it, I really enjoyed it. I really liked sitting down and just throwing out things and seeing where they led. And a lot of people said, "Oh, you get this writer's block or this and that," and I never did. Things just flowed. So whether that happens again, I don't know, but it certainly did the first time.
Well, I mean, it might take its cues to some extent from having a coaching mindset. I mean, the one thing that I talked about many episodes ago on the podcast was some of the things that I liked about being a coach, and one of them is certainly that it makes me a more analytical athlete.
Mhm.
I look at every movement differently with a coach's eye than I do just doing the movement myself, and so I do find that practice of going through the movement, looking for the potential points of failure, looking for cues to fix little things that go wrong in a movement, that analytical side of things I've always just kind of liked. Now, I mean, it might not be everyone's, it may not fit into everyone's personality, but it just kind of fit with me. It's how my mind works. And it made me better at doing the movements than if I were not coaching. And so, that I think to some extent, it sounds like that's kind of leaking into the way that you're thinking about sitting down and writing the book, is analyzing the experiences that you've had and looking for life lessons to take out of those using that analytical mindset. And you have the foresight to actually document the outcomes of that analytical process.
Right, right.
That's the difference. Not all of us do that.
Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right. I think I was able to take all those experiences, relate them to what I was writing, and yeah, it just came naturally. It just seemed to flow. It would be no different than, like you said, as being a coach, right? You're going to see what others are doing,
Yeah.
how you're coaching them, and then be able to just take that into your own, athletic performance and say, oh yeah, right, okay, this totally
Yeah.
makes sense.
That's awesome. Well, I will so look forward to the sequel to Health Health Mind Soul.
Right.
Um, I'll be watching with interest with what's happening in your online community. Thank you for inviting me to join the Facebook group so I can get a sense of the conversations that are happening there, and see you guys even more often than I get the opportunity to do so now. Looking forward to getting a workout in with you both at some point.
I know we missed
Hopefully
you.
not purely electronically.
No, we miss seeing you.
No, we missed that aspect as well, and we're definitely planning on getting into the gym at some
Awesome.
point, just to interact and have that social aspect again. It's we enjoy it, and we like doing it together as well.
Yeah. Oh, it's fun. I can't wait to see you guys in person. Even if we still have to be doing this crazy social distancing thing, it'll still be fun to be able to get together and throw down for a little bit.
It will.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time to talk about your book, your online community, and the really interesting coaching and life and wellness training that you're now offering to people that contact you to become clients. I think you're going to be able to really make a dent in what people are trying to do for themselves, and recognizing that there was an opportunity for you to share your experiences with those people. And I think it's interesting too that you both dove into more training, more learning, more experience that you could then impart on people. I mean, that I think says a lot about the mentality that you're going into this with in setting up this new venture. You're not resting on your laurels. You're expanding your knowledge to bring that value to the people that work with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, thank you very much. We definitely were definitely happy to be here today and chat about that. And we're definitely not going to keep resting on that at all. I mean, we're constantly trying to see what the next thing is out there that we can better ourselves, and to help others. I mean, it's ever evolving. You have to keep learning.
Oh, for sure. Awesome. Well,
Thank you.
if I'm sure I'll see you before then, but when the book tour kicks off, make sure that I'm there.
That's right.
Sure. Thank you so much, John. We appreciate
All right.
it so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you both. That's time for this episode. All that's left is the M wrap up. Jeff and Tara have clearly found their passion and are eager to share the life lessons in fitness, health, nutrition, and lifestyle that they've learned over many years of trial and error, and actively seeking that which would help them improve not just their lives, but the lives of the people around them. And now that fruitful pursuit is turned outward with their book and their lifestyle business and the community that they're building around it. You can get a copy of their book, Health, Mind, Soul, 8 Steps to Find Your Inner Peace, whether a physical copy or an ebook, by visiting healthmindsoul.com. And while you're there, check out their fitness, nutrition, and wellness packages on their website, as well for some of their one-on-one coaching, and follow them on social media at Healthy Mind Soul Life is their handle. That's it for this episode. If you liked it, please share it. Maybe even drop me an email at podcast@boxjumper.ca. Like I mentioned in the intro, if you follow me on social media at boxjumperover40 on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, or you can subscribe on your favorite podcasting app. And of course, you can visit boxjumper.ca to add your email to the Boxjumper mailing list. Thanks for listening. Another episode of the Boxjumper podcast is coming soon. Until then, stay healthy, WOD happy, and WOD often.